Let's talk about a story that just won't go away. We've got a former president, a disgraced financier, and a connection that's been a political minefield for decades. Today, we're breaking down the long, complicated relationship between Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein. And this isn't just a history lesson. This whole thing is blowing up right now into a massive legal and political battle on Capitol Hill. So you might be asking yourself, why is this decades-old story suddenly all over the news again? Well, it's because after months of pushing back, both Bill and Hillary Clinton are now being forced to testify under oath before Congress, and it's happening at the end of this month. This is a huge showdown that's been brewing for a long, long time. Yeah, and this wasn't just a polite invitation. The committee basically had to threaten them with contempt of Congress charges to make this happen. So the stage is set for this incredibly high-stakes, televised confrontation that, honestly, could have some major political fallout. But to really get a handle on what's going on here, we have to go back, way back. We're going to trace this whole story from the very beginning in the White House, see how it evolved through all the travel and philanthropy, and then dig into the allegations that led us to this political firestorm today. So let's get into it. All right, first up, the high-stakes testimony. The key thing to remember is this isn't just about digging up the past. It's about the very real, very intense legal pressure the Clintons are under right now. So where did this all start? Well, that takes us to the White House years. This whole relationship didn't just pop up after Clinton was president. The seeds were planted way back in the 90s while he was still in the Oval Office. And check out this timeline. It shows just how early Epstein got his foot in the door. A $10,000 donation in '93, and suddenly he's visiting the White House a lot. We're talking at least 17 times in 2 years. This clearly wasn't some chance meeting. This looks like a pretty calculated way to get access to the absolute highest levels of power. Okay, now let's move on to what happened after Clinton left the White House. This is the era of flights and philanthropy, where the association between them got a lot deeper and way more public, all centered on international travel and his new global foundation. Now, this has really come to define this whole period of their relationship. 26. That's the minimum number of times Bill Clinton flew on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet, the plane that later became infamous as the Lolita Express. This wasn't just an occasional lift. It was practically a regular shuttle service for him. And I mean, look at these destinations. We're not talking about short hops here. These were sprawling international tours through Asia, Europe, and Africa. And while a lot of them were tied to Clinton's humanitarian work, the fact that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were so often on these flights has raised some serious questions for a very long time. And this just shows you how tangled their worlds really were. It went way beyond just travel. Get this. Newly released documents suggest Ghislaine Maxwell played a pivotal role in actually launching the Clinton Global Initiative. Epstein's network even allegedly wired $1 million just to get that first big event up and running. And that brings us to the next chapter, allegations and denials. Because once Epstein's absolutely horrific crimes started coming to light, the whole perception of his powerful friends changed, big time. The story wasn't just about who knew who anymore. It became about intense scrutiny, accusations, and defense. Now, right at the center of all this is this one explosive claim from Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's victims. She says she saw Bill Clinton on Epstein's private island. The Clinton camp, for their part, has always flat out denied this. And, so far, Secret Service logs don't show any record of a visit. It is still a major, major point of contention. Which, of course, brings us right back to today and the political firestorm. All of this history, all these claims and denials, it's all come to a head in Washington, D.C., and it's turned into this massive political fight where neither side is backing down. So on one side, you have the House Oversight Chairman basically declaring victory. He's saying the Clintons caved under the threat of being held in contempt and that now they're being forced to testify. But the Clintons are firing right back. They're demanding a public hearing. They're arguing that doing this behind closed doors would be a kangaroo court, and it would let their political opponents just cherry-pick parts of their testimony and leak it to the press. And then, just when you think things can't get any weirder, this happens. Ghislaine Maxwell, speaking through her lawyer from prison, offers to testify. But there's a catch. She wants clemency. And she's claiming she can prove both Clinton and Trump are innocent. I mean, what a twist. It just adds a whole new level of political chess to this entire situation.
And as if all that wasn't enough, the recent release of a bunch of unseen photos has just thrown more fuel on the fire. The whole controversy now is about the redactions. People are asking, why did the Department of Justice black out the faces of certain people when they were only supposed to protect victims and minors? It's a really good question.
So finally, let's just step back from the day-to-day drama for a second. This whole thing leads us to the quest for accountability. Beyond the headlines, what does this entire saga really tell us about power, about influence, and about how justice works or doesn't work?
You know, academics who study this case often bring up this one concept, elite impunity. It's basically the idea that for the super rich and the super connected, the rules of justice just don't really apply in the same way. Their money, their networks, it can all act like a shield, protecting them from consequences.
So here we are. The documents are out, the testimony is about to happen, and the political theater is in full swing. But it all boils down to this one huge final question, right? Is this whole spectacle really about transparency, or is it just a performance? In this day and age, what does real, true accountability for the powerful even look like?